It's the center of a modern-day flat world, round world debate. Most branches of science accredit their own existence largely because of its discovery. Major religious states refute its validity, fearing the concept as a threat to their very faith. Cartoons exploit the concept so it can be marketed to children worldwide. Greetings, fellow definitioneers, and welcome to yet another exciting edition of Definition with your host, Definition Man. Today's definition is evolution, and I'll get right to that. Butchered for your convenience from TheDefinitionMan, the first meaning is a gradual process where something changes into a different and often better form. Number 2, A, the process of developing, B, gradual development. Number 3, in biology, it can be A, change in the genetic composition of a population during successive generations as a result of natural selection acting on the genetic variation among individuals and resulting in the development of new species, or B, the historical development of a related group of organisms, such as phylogeny. Number 4 is a movement that's part of a set of ordered movements. And the last but not least is number 5, which is a mathematical term, meaning the extraction of a root of quantity. Now, as you may have guessed, I mentioned number 3, A, in my opening statement, and that's because it's one of the leading hot-button terms our generation has grown up with. The theory of evolution is undoubtedly the religion versus science debate of our modern era, with science from all departments claiming mountains of evidence, and religion fighting relentlessly to poke holes in that so-called evidence. Now, what separates this current science/holy war from all the others in the past is the sheer diversity and complexity that science has evolved into. Today, science is broken down into many hundreds of subsets, everything from advanced physics to myrmecology, or the study of ants. Most of these fields complement each other quite well when unraveling the mystery of organisms branching away from one another. But it's on that same note that it can clearly be understandable for many to fully comprehend a long-running theory that has quite truthfully embedded itself in our institutions of higher education when the tools used to accumulate that evidence are so varied and widely misunderstood by the general population. This is why so many religious groups who refute evolution do so by the assumption that much of science is, in and of itself, faith-based. Because without fully educating themselves on how scientists came to their conclusions, some people feel endowed to simply presume that scientists are merely weaving stories based on conjecture, and that to trust the alleged findings can only be an act of faith. As such, I find it's not necessarily always the ones with the most knowledge on evolution that endorse its existence. More importantly, it tends to be those who are scientifically literate enough to understand it. And let's face it, not everyone is. Now, I'm not the kind of person who normally goes off on some tangent and explaining all the biased details to back up my opinion. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't want to, it's just I know you don't have the attention span to hold on it. So without going into any of these many findings of the last 150 years, or even the last decade for that matter, I'll simply recommend for anyone who feels they want to dispute the E-theory to do all the research they possibly can. Just try avoiding those Christian science websites, because they're almost always full of statistics, estimates, and other numbers that have no credibility or origin, and are often found to be proven wrong by mainstream science decades before they were even proposed. Basically a pseudoscience. So get out there and be that douchebag who shows your fellow man how much more you know than he does. Kids, when your teachers and parents tell you that knowledge is power, this is what they're talking about. Anywho, if you like what you saw here and feel like evolving your mind just a little more, click on any of my other definitions. Rate this video and always troll yourself in the comments below. Remember, Lindsay Lohan is the female Charlie Sheen. Jessica?